Today is September 13th, Friday the 13th. Welcome on in to Daily Cards Live, brought to you by Munganess St. Louis Acura and Royal Banks of Missouri. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey. Rammer Cardinals win yesterday afternoon. They've won 2 in a row. They now head north of the border up to Toronto against a team that's struggled a lot, even more this year than the Cardinals have. And the Blue Jays, this is your shot where you got to sweep them.
You mean to try and hold on to postseason hopes?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I don't think it's there. I think the Cardinals will probably see what they do this weekend. I'm at a point where I want to play all the young guys as much as I can. I don't think the Cardinals are there yet, and they probably owe it to their players not to be there yet. So I'm okay with that. In reality, even though some of the young guys are not performing or they're getting limited play, I'd do it that way. But I say that without the responsibility to my team. You know what I mean? Right. And so Ollie and the staff and the players, they owe it to themselves to do everything they can to win every game they can.
Yeah, the Blue Jays 69-78 on the season, with some of the talent on their roster and some of the names that they have gone out and signed over the past few years. If you're a Blue Jays fan, you're expecting that record to not only, even that record being flipped, I feel like would have been a disappointing season at this point for them if they were 78-69. But to be 9 games under 500 is you got to think heads will roll up there in Toronto.
Well, that's why they moved some people, and really Guerrero is about this is a bit of an exaggeration, but just about the only guy you can count on. I think I read that they're absolutely not going to move him, that he is their franchise. They're going to build around him, but they've got a lot of building to do. They better get a good contractor.
You have good names to build around there. You do have good. You have a couple good names, a good foundation there. For I would think. I think so.
Well, I don't have the roster in front of me, but some of those names have faded. Could you say it's just a bad year and there'll be a bounce back? You could, but I think they need. I think they need a rebuild.
I mean, last year too, they weren't. They didn't. They didn't make the playoffs last year, right? I don't believe they did.
No, but
yeah.
Some of the guys, you could see some of the guys, but Springer is not the player he used to be, right. And some of the other young guys have sort of been sputtering. I think the Blue Jays, without really studying their roster and organization and contracts and all that, just as a glossed over outside view, I think they need a rebuild.
Yeah,
while keeping Guerrero.
No Bo Bichette this weekend. He's currently on a rehab assignment down in AAA, so Cardinals will not have to face him unless early next week. So I think they're looking at more of a Monday, Tuesday to get him off the injured list. So Cardinals won't have to deal with that this weekend. It'll be Eric Fetty on the mound tonight for the Cardinals. 8-9 on the year, 3.39 ERA, 138 strikeouts. Outside of that, the Blue Jays have not listed a starter for any 3 of their games this weekend, and the Cardinals have not listed any starters for Saturday or Sunday. So it is wide open as far as who could start for any of these games this weekend for the Cardinals.
I guess I should have gone back and looked at the schedule and who pitched most recently. And it kind of comes down to what guys do you want to keep on regular rest and what guys can you extend. This time through, you're the 5th guy. Next time through, you're the 5th guy. And see who responds. Lance Lynn did a good job. I think you say, okay, Lance, you're back in a regular rotational situation. But between I think you got to take a hard look at Miles Mikolas. If you run him out there, as we said at the beginning of our podcast, if you run him out there, are you giving your team the best chance to win? And Steven Matz probably fits in that same category. Palante, he's been good. He's been not so good. So those are 3 guys that probably 2 of those 3 will will get your start?
If you are serious about being a playoff team this year, if there is,
You're not. Wait a minute. Stop. The premise is completely bogus.
If you are serious about making a one final run here to make it into the postseason and have a chance, we said earlier in the week it has to be like a 5 or 6 game win streak has to happen to even start that conversation and start looking at teams in front of you for that. So if you're serious about this, Miles Michaelis cannot start at this point.
I don't think he starts no matter what, because he's not a young guy. He's the worst. He's had the worst regular starter season in Major League Baseball. For me, I don't start him. Maybe they say we're not, they wouldn't say this publicly. We're not going anywhere. We believe in this guy. We're going to have to pay him next year. We're going to run him out there. I don't think that's the right direction. I'm not saying that's what the Cardinals will do. If they choose that, I think it's the wrong choice, no matter what you feel about your position.
Yeah, that's I just think, I mean, if you're out of it, if it's over with and there's no young pitchers, if you're not bringing up McGreevy to start, if you're not looking at other arms to see how they look at the big league level, then it's just a matter of, okay, hey, Miles, it's your turn in the rotation. Here's the ball. Go pitch. You know.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that because you've got 6 guys now, not counting any young people who are not on the roster, by the way, are not on the 29 man. I don't see the upside to starting him unless somebody's ouchy. To me, I think you're going Matz, Palante, depending on who's got the proper rest. That's just me.
And if you're out of the race, I don't see there being an issue with going to the 6-man rotation. Why keep throwing, Sonny Gray out there every 6th day? He's done everything you've asked him to. I mean, he's shown you everything this year. All right, hey, take an extra day off. We'll go get him.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. But again, what is there to gain by pitching Miles?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if you wanted to pitch him, what would your answer to my question be? Maybe it's the end of the year, a lot of innings on arms. Let's don't push it because there's no pot of gold at the end. If that's the answer, I would accept that.
Yeah. So that series takes place up in Toronto this weekend. Have not seen the Blue Jays since opening day of 2023. So it has been almost 2 seasons. 2 seasons have come and gone since you have last faced the Blue Jays and the weekend. Haven't heard anything of any issues with crossing the border or anything up with any of the players and their visas. Remember, we had that issue last time with
that's right.
The guy that's with Pittsburgh now, the big guy, the big pitcher,
Ortiz,
Johan is Oviedo.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah, he had to fly down to Miami, get a passport, fly back up. Yeah, it was a whole thing. Have not heard any issues of that.
Well, hopefully sometimes you try to be proactive, and months ago you're looking at the schedule. You've gone to every player on the roster at the time, and then each time somebody comes up, let's see your passport, let's see your visas, let's see all your paperwork, make sure everything's in order as we look to the future. And I'm sure they've done that.
And plus, Goldschmidt and Arenado will play this time too. They did not play 2 years ago when the series went up to Toronto 2 years ago. They stayed back in the States for that one as well. But so as far as we know, the whole team is up in Toronto getting ready for a 3-game weekend series between the Cardinals and the Blue Jays.
So JC, we got to be sure and mention him getting his first 2 big league hits. I can't get a handle on whether, wow, this guy is a big league prospect or not. He's done well everywhere he's played. He got a couple of hits. He seems like a good kid. I don't know. I don't really, when you look at Jordan Walker, and sometimes it's the eye test that doesn't always really give you a real appraisal. You look at a Jordan Walker, you go, oh, yeah, this looks like the guy. You look at Victor Scott. with the unbelievable speed and the minor league numbers. And then you look at Sajace, he kind of looks like just a guy, but he's played well wherever he's played. So I don't know, but I like seeing him get those hits. Again, it was great seeing his teammates pulling for him. They were into it. So it was a feel-good moment.
And the professionalism of that is Major League Baseball. I saw the picture post-game. If you're wondering what happens to those baseballs and everything, he had 2 Ziploc sandwich bags that the baseballs were in. So if you think that there's some sort of special, case or some sort of, big deal that they do, no, they just found Ziploc bags and they put the baseballs in those and gave them to JC. They do get authenticated.
That's
they do.
Yeah,
they get stickers on them.
Yeah,
they get stickers on them. They get authenticated. I think each team has kind of a designated clubhouse guy that'll write down the date and everything on that. Somebody, I would assume, with good penmanship. And then there's always the random baseball floating around that has other things written on it that is then presented to the rookie, being told that's actually your first hit ball.
Here's another guy as a side note, another young guy that I'm intrigued by. That's Ivan Herrera. Here's a guy, I really think this guy is a big league hitter. Having said that, I'm going to put a little disclaimer on it in that his swing seems very complicated. And if one little thing, anybody who's maybe you haven't played baseball at a high level, but maybe you play golf, the more complicated your swing, the more things can go wrong and get out of whack. But it sure looks like this kid can hit. I know they don't like his arm. It's not like, well, let's see. They don't like his arm. So what is his future? I'm really curious. And for a team that is desperate for offense, you think you want to play him more? I just think it's really a curious case.
So that would be, Herrera is a guy, you like his bat, you don't like his glove. Burleson's a guy, you like his bat, you're not sure 100% sure where you play him in the field.
But I think he's right. He's capable at both corners and first base.
You really like Pages, so you want, and with the injuries to Contreras, you wonder about his future behind the plate, being able to play a good defensive catcher, but you love his bat. And then Luken Baker, another guy that you kind of look at and you go, man, that guy can hit, but can he play first base at the big league level? Rammer, that's 4 possible DHs you have on the roster for 25.
I was just going to say, and in a perfect world, if you've got a terrific young catcher, probably 40% of Wilson Contreras' at-bats would come at DH. Contreras, Baker, Herrera, Burleson. This is going to be an interesting winter to figure things out.
Well, whichever one they trade will hit 40 home runs, I'm sure, with his team next season, while the other 3 don't.
That's a given.
This has been another edition of Daily Cards Live, brought to you every day by Munganast St. Louis Acura and Rammer, also Royal Banks. Royal Banks
of Missouri, where better service means better banking. Don't forget, you can get online. Terrific website can get you started. It's royalbanksofmo.com. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC, and equal opportunity lender.
He's Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. Talk to you next week right here on Daily Cards Live.
Munganast St. Louis Acura has the all-electric Acura ZDX. The ZDX can go up to 313 miles on a single charge, and the DC fast charging lets the ZDX gain up to 80 miles in just 10 minutes. When you lease an Acura ZDX, you can save up to $7,500 with a federal EV lease credit. Or you can buy the new ZDX and get 0.9% for up to 72 months. Come on in to Munganast St. Louis Acura and take a look at the new ZDX for yourself.